we are going to pick up where we left off, right? I want us to get through these 6 stories because it's really, really important. You master them. Of course, they're going to become a part of your Rolodex, kind of like the main stories in your Rolodex. That's like the foundation of your Rolodex. So number 1 was the origin story. What is the number 1 reason we have the origin story? To build connection with people who know us or don't know us? Don't know us. And the people who know you, should you retell your origin story to them? Yes. Why? Yeah. Does it make the connection deeper? After you've connected with someone, can the connection grow even stronger? Yes. Sort of. Yeah, of course. Right? So you keep retelling it. Do they get bored of it? Not if it's good. Not if it's good. Yeah, not if it's good. So 1 is origin. Everyone pull out your story worksheet that you have. I want to make sure you have this. This is the one where you start filling in the questions yesterday. I want you to go to page 3. All right, page 3. And this, it got cut off where it says Simon Sinek, right at the top, Simon Sinek. The title of this is on page 2. If you want to see it, just says Why You Do What You Do story. That is what number 2 is, right? Why you do what you do. Right? A Wydwyd story. Why you do what you do. Why you do what you do. Why do you think it's important that people know why you do what you do? And again, I don't want you guys to think, like, I want everyone thinking intentionally here. I want you thinking about, what are you going to be selling? What product or service are you selling? Or what cause are you standing for or leading? What movement are you leading? All these stories should be related to that cause, to that mission, to that product, to that service, right? I'm not going to have a bunch of why I do what I do stories to explain why I don't eat breakfast. That's not relevant to my audience, is it? Maybe if I'm with friends and I'm talking about it, then I might tell that story, but we're talking about power speaking, right? We're talking about videos, webinars, on stage. So I'm not going to share that story, right? I'm always going to stay within the circle of relevance to my prospects, to my audience. Like yesterday, I had that story about Elliot Holst, bioenergetics. That's nuts. I can't tell it to you guys. It's not relevant here. I'm also aware every time I bring it up and tell you I can't tell you, it makes you want to know it even more. Right? That's the upsell. I'm just kidding. Why you do what you do. Right? So we want it to be about what we actually do, like about our thing. Simon Sinek has a great TED Talk called Start With Why. Raise your hand if you have watched his TED Talk. Those of you who haven't, please go back and watch it. Those of you who have, please go back and watch it. All right, just make a note that you'll do it. It's a TED Talk. It's like 18 minutes. He's a good speaker, and he's got a great concept that he is sharing in that talk. All right, and he draws it. Oops. And he draws this in his TED Talk. Right, I'm going to give you a very, very short synopsis of the idea. He says that most people market and sell their message, and they share what and how, but they don't share why. Right? And he uses Apple as an example. He says, imagine Steve Jobs or Apple selling computers, and they said, how we make our computers is we make them beautiful, elegant, simple to use, and user-friendly. Right? What we do is we make really, really good computers. Do you want to buy one? Right? Or what we do is make really, really good computers. They're simple, easy to use, elegant, and user-friendly. Want a computer? Right? And you're like, no, I'm good. Right? Doesn't really touch you. He says the best companies, like Apple, actually, they don't go from the outside in, they go from the inside out, and they start with why. The first thing they share is why they do what they do. And they say, we believe at Apple in challenging the status quo. We believe that only the people who are bold enough to think differently can actually be the ones who change the world. How we do that is we create computers that are beautiful and easy to use and user-friendly. Want to buy a computer? Who's like, okay, I'll buy a computer. Yeah, it touches you differently, right? What is that? And you share that why. We want it, like for Apple, we want to challenge the status quo, right? We believe that only people who are bold enough to challenge the status quo are the ones who are actually bold enough to change the world. What are they sharing there? That's a value, right? They're sharing their value. People connect the deepest on the values, period. So really, really good TED Talk. I really recommend everyone watching it in full. That was like my 90-second spiel on it. And the way we figure out the why you do what you do story is a couple questions I put here. For instance, you could say, what value are you most willing to fight for in your business? Right? Or with your audience, or with your product, or with your service, or with your customers. What value is most important to you? Right? What happened that made you so passionate about that? Or simply stated, why the fuck do you do what you do? Right? Why the fuck do you do what you do? And we gotta dig for this answer, because it's not immediately there. You gotta sort through some bullshit. All right? If someone asks me why I do what I do, maybe if I was on autopilot, the answer would be to help people. Is that gonna touch anybody? No, to help people. Why the fuck do you wanna help people? Because I like changing lives, like it's cool, it makes me feel good. Okay, so why do you like feeling good? What is it about that that's so important to you? I don't know. I like the spotlight on me, right? I like that I can help people and I can be the Jason Capital show, right? It feeds me and it feeds them at the same time. I really like that. Raise your hand also if you feel that same way in your own business. Yeah, look at that. Every hand goes up, right? So digging into why. Or I could go deeper. Instead of me, focus on why do I sell the products I sell? How many products could I sell? Thousands, right? I could sell thousands of different products. Why do I sell like 4? Right? Why do I sell the products I sell? Right? Well, because I believe laptop life over rat race life. Right? I believe everyone should have the opportunity to live the laptop life. I believe there's no better life than a life that's totally fun and totally free, and I believe there's no easier way to live that life than with the laptop life. That last thing right there. Did I just share the why? Did that connect? Right? So that's how we look at this, right? We figure out why do we do what we do, and what is the story that can kind of define that for us? The why we do what we do. So I'll give you a couple examples. All right, so one of my values, we talked about it yesterday, obviously would be like freedom and laptop life. Right? So think about those values. Freedom, laptop life. Freedom, laptop life. What is a story or a moment in my history that I can remember now when it dawned on me, I first realized that freedom and laptop life is so much better than anything else. Or it's so important that other people get to live that life too. And for me, one of the stories that comes up is the Sandwich Brigade story. Who here just saw 3 guys running down the street with lettuce and tomato? It's cool, isn't it? How'd that get there? That's cool. Does the Sandwich Brigade story, if I tell that story and I talk about I'm sitting there and they're running by, tomatoes are flying everywhere, and I go into the seminar, etc., and I realize those 3 guys, they are exactly why I do what I do. Because I know a lot of guys my age that I grew up with who are still living lives like that. Former friends of mine who are just settling in every area of their life, and I just refuse to do that for myself. And frankly, I'd rather have more people living a life of total freedom and fun and adventure and doing what they want than being surrounded by people who are miserable. Right? So I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can replace rat race life with laptop life today. Is that a why I do what I do story? Do you guys see how that kind of works? Yeah. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a couple notes in that section, just a couple bullet points as you answer these questions here. Right? So what is a value that you're willing to fight for? What is a value that you are willing to fight for? You will not give it up. Second question. That was a warm-up question. Second question. Why do you sell what you sell? How many things out there could you sell? Why this? Why have you chosen to sell this?
Is that question, why are you selling this? Is that referring to the values or the product itself?
The product itself. The product or the service itself. Or like, for instance, in Stanley's case, right? He's rolling up mobile home trailer park communities, right? So it's, why have you chosen this industry? right? Or better yet, why have you chosen to be this type of entrepreneur who does these roll-ups? Because the people you're trying to get as investors, they want to know that answer. Why have you chosen this path? Right? Why have you chosen this path? Why have you chosen to sell this thing, this idea? And then the last question is, when was the first time you realized this product, this idea, was the shit? When was the first time you realized that this product, this idea, was like the end-all be-all? This is this is fire, this is insane, this is amazing, this is incredible, this is life-changing. When did you first realize that? And again, you don't need to write the whole story. Just a couple notes will do, all right? All right, so who is one that they want to share that you think you feel pretty confident about, you think is pretty solid? Yeah.
So, people value the opinions of musicians, actors, celebrities more than they do their own parents and people who are actually more invested in their lives. And I had a 100-mile-an-hour car accident when I was young, drinking and driving, and I kind of came to that realization that I did not really agree with the values of, like, say, the rock star culture. I really agreed more with my grandpa's values, but I also realized that pop culture, the rock star world, actually could promote those values. Mm-hmm. And so, it took some introspection to realize that, but I had to change my life a bit.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So the story is 100 miles an hour, drunk driving, get in a car accident. Were you drunk driving at 100 miles an hour because that's what you thought rock stars did?
No, it was just kind of like a lifestyle I ended up in through like addiction.
Okay.
And the party life or whatever, party
Sure.
like a rock star.
Right, those values.
Yeah.
Those values even maybe brought you into that whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
Which eventually ended up in this near fatal accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you realized that you preferred your grandpa's values over these values.
Yeah.
There's no reason rock star values and your grandpa's values can't be the same thing.
I mean, he was a Christian, he was a preacher, and so like I actually really respect the teachings of Jesus, Buddha, all of that stuff, more so than what the rock star culture promotes.
Yep.
But it's maybe not as fashionable.
Yeah, that's fine. Right? So why you do what you do is the whole story. Right? That story nails it just right. It nails it just right, and then it also allows you to say at the end, and that's why I do what I do, because those values, they're not sustainable, they're not livable, they're not even maybe worthy, right? They almost killed me when I don't know how old you were, right? When I was that old, right? And every single day, these many people are killed by drunk driving because maybe they saw rock stars or celebrities talking about it or anything like that, right? And I don't want anyone else to even kiss death's lips, or even come that close to it, the same way that I did. Right, so I'm on a mission today to do. That make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And it really establishes why you do what you do. You guys see that? Okay, who else? Who wants to share? James.
Summarize, right?
Totally, man.
Well, what I want to do is because I live in a world where people are so easily comforted by lies and factors, by having the dream shut down because life is supposed to be this way or that way. And what I want to do is simply to let them realize that just because of their circumstances, just because of their upbringing or whatever they're in, doesn't give them the opportunity, no, permission actually, to not go after what they want. And I want to empower them, breathe back that life into them, so they go from zombies to alive again. And I've been living my life all that time for the last 30 years, and I see what kind of life they have, I see the kind of life they live, and I just don't want them to live that way.
So when was the first time you realized that this was really important to you?
When I saw my grandma die, and I couldn't do anything about it.
What was it about her death that made you feel this way?
At the time, I was only in a job where I was just going through emotion. I was doing a rat race, doing the same thing over and over again. And I was living with her, helping her too. So when she died, and when I realized that I was powerless, and I saw what life can just be gone in an instant, I realized also how easy it is for people to not realize, what they have lost,
Yes.
what they really treasure, and that unless they have skill or knowledge or the money even to even face that, they will forever be caught in the tragedy of life happening to me and not life happening by me.
Yep. Perfect. When we got to the second point, did you guys see how much more that touched you when you mentioned his grandma? Right, and that just needs to be there from the beginning. Right, that's why I asked that question. When was the first time you realized this was so important to you? Because that's typically going to be the thing that shapes you, the thing that shapes why you do what it is that you do. Right, and it was that moment for you. Right, that's the essence of a lot of these stories, is capturing that moment of transformation. Right, a really good way to figure out that moment for all these experiences is asking yourself, when was the first time I realized insert thing? When was the first time I realized that this value of not settling and life doesn't have to be this way, and I can build financial abundance and I can help people? When was the first time I realized I had to do that? It's when I saw my grandma passed away. I couldn't do anything to help her or save her, and I saw how quickly she disappeared off the face of the earth. That kind of thing, right? Cool. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Stand up, practice your story with your partner, and then, yeah, we'll take about 4 minutes. Let's do this right now. At a grade 5, or grade 6 or 5 or below, you're probably speaking at a grade 15 to 18 right now, right? So that's why you're going to lose people, right? The energy, the heart is there, but we have to, like, I wish I could just speak in 8-syllable words all day. I can't do it because no one here would understand it. So I use 4-letter words a lot, right? So we have to smarten it down to reach people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's probably going to be your biggest thing to work on, is that. And 1, 2, 3. So everyone stand up, because you don't want to rapidly change your state. You did. Shake it out a little bit. Everyone just shake it out, shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out. Good, just let it all hang. Make a loud exhale with your mouth. Good, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Please be seated. So, why you do what you do? One thing I want to point out as I was going around listening to certain people, giving feedback. So we had one person here who they were telling their why I do what I do story, and they are very smart, right? And a big issue a lot of power speakers have is that when you are really, really smart, you use big words with a lot of syllables. The average person, do they use big words with a lot of syllables, yes or no? No, they don't, right? In fact, there's something we call the FK score. What's it called? The FK score. You can go online, it's a free tool, and you can punch in any words, any story, any copy, anything like that, put it in there, and it will tell you what grade level that your words are at. Could be a grade 19, could be a grade 4. Really, really useful tool because you want to be speaking grade 6 or below. Grade 6 or below. So I was listening to him talk, and my guess is he was speaking at a grade 19. All right, grade 19. What does grade 19 sound like? Lawyer speak. Yeah, right. Conceptually speaking, the anti-disestablishmentarianism related to conceptual issues regarding fortuitous events previously unknown to the masses. Do you concur, doctor? I concur. Yeah, right. Means nothing, right? And it's really hard for people to follow and understand. And the idea, the value he wanted to share, why he does what he does, is he believes that human beings have this indescribable something that machines never could, and they never can. Raise your hand if you agree with that statement. Yeah. By the way, what is it, that thing?
Soul.
Yeah, probably soul, heart, right? But the way he was saying it, it was more like not that, right? It was like, I don't know, AI, machines. It was like something, so I said, what if instead you said something like, human beings, they have this, and you look at your fingers. This is a little tip you guys can use. When you're talking, if you ever look really, really intently in your hand as if you're holding the thing you're talking about, or you're thinking about it, people will get really, they'll go into a trance just like you, right? So you can even say something like, human beings, they have this this indescribable something that machines never could. Do you guys like see it in my hand? Right, there's nothing there, but there's like an energy there, right? You create that with your eye contact, right? And it just adds a little flavor to it, right? That no machine ever could, no matter they're built in the machine was built in a warehouse, a factory, or on a conveyor belt, right? And I first realized this when I was 14 and da-da-da-da-da, and then you go into the why you do what you do story. Make sense? What else did you learn, what else did you notice as you were doing the why you do what you do? Either about your partner or your own story. Everyone pretty good on it? Yeah? Yes, man.
Well, asking questions definitely helped me answer a lot of stuff. When I was trying to talk to them about my values and why I sell what I sell, I couldn't really say anything. I was stuck. And
Yep.
when he was asking me questions, I was easily able to answer.
What was the question he asked you that unlocked it for you?
The whys. He kept asking why. Why do you do this?
And what was the final why you got to?
The final why I got to, I would say, because I don't like liars. I don't like people without integrity.
Did someone fuck you over?
Yes.
Perfect. That's the story. That's it. Are you comfortable sharing that story, or does it make you a little uncomfortable?
I'm comfortable sharing it.
Good. Then you can start now. Right? Like not at this moment, but you can start sharing that story. That's the whole thing. That's it right there. Like that's the whole why you do what you do. Strong belief, what happened, when did you first realize this was the thing? That's it. Okay?